Have you heard about Anchor by Spotify? It's the easiest way to make a podcast. In fact, that's how I made this podcast. It has everything you need all in one place. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast, all in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Again, download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Enjoy! It's Holden Haroldszen here for another exciting episode 11 of the podcast, Season 1, Episode 11. Holden Haroldszen presents. Da-da-ba-dum, ba-da-ba-dum. And it's always nice to say you're welcome. And it's always nice to say you're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome. Yes, you are welcome. Welcome to another exciting episode of Holden Haroldszen Presents. On today's episode, stuff. Yes, stuff will be discussed. Good day to you. I'd like to have a word at this time about condensation, condescending tones, and conventional ovens. Actually, no, let's do something different. Yeah. Well. I am having a ridiculously strange day. I feel discombobulated. I'd would like to feel supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. However, that's not occurring. It's strange. Not bad. I don't feel sad or bad. I just feel out of sorts. I'm being truthful and honest right now, and I think that's important. Share your emotions. Share your true feelings. So that's what I'm doing. It's letting it out, getting it out there in the open, so that a year from now, I can listen to this and say, oh yeah, that's right. In May of 2022, there were times in the middle of the month that I felt extremely strange, odd, and out of sorts. I'd rather feel super fantastic, or supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. However, now I'm going to be sued. Now I've got to edit that out. So I will. Oh, you know what? Actually, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious is a word in the dictionary. You can Google it and you will hear, yes, the Sherman brothers, Robert Sherman and Richard and Robert Sherman, Robert and Robert Sherman, coined a word, a phrase that stuck in the psyche of the world population, or near the western part at least, English-speaking part, yes. I don't know how that would translate in, let's say Farsi, but it might be the same, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Just as restaurant translate to restaurant, but it's the same. Although some would say, no, I prefer that Boyer be pronounced Boyer. That's much more pleasant. So restaurant is much more pleasant than restaurant. What? Raunt? That's a horrible way of saying wrong. Anyhow, anywho, and anyway. That's the message for now, for this segment, for this piece, for this particular part of the recording of this podcast, which is live right now to me because I'm saying the words. And it's recorded information for you from the past because this is posted after I have said these words. Yes, Holden Haroldsson has spoken words. Words have been spoken by Holden. Yes, I think it's important here to talk about, since I've already mentioned it, the wonderful, fantastic creativity of Richard and Robert Sherman, also known as the Sherman Brothers, also known as the Boys. Walt Disney had a favorite duo who would compose and write the songs for many of his animated and live-action movies. They also wrote songs for the recording career, the solo artist let's say that again. Not corroding, recording. That's juxtaposition, by the way. It's called slurring. No, it's not slurring. Slurring would be making four words one word. Anyway, that's a tangent. We can talk about that another time. But right now, I wanted to say that Richard and Robert Sherman also wrote and composed songs for the solo recordings, plural, of Annette Funicello, a star of many Walt Disney productions, including the Mickey Mouse Club, first iteration. And also, remember the song Tall Paul? Oh yes, Richard and Robert Sherman, writers of The Bare Necessities, and as mentioned earlier, Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. That's not two words, it's one, so let me try it again. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, that word, that's in the dictionary, that if you Google it, or iPhone it, Google it on your iPhone or Android device, or your computer, but let's go back to the phone. Because here's the interesting and exciting part. When you Google supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, there will be a dictionary and also a microphone, a speaker icon, that you can click on or finger push, tap on, and you will hear a man, in my case, for some reason, not a lady, but I think it can be either, depending upon how your settings are, maybe, perhaps. Yes, of course. And then you look at that and you press on it, and the word will be spoken and you will hear it. It will be an audible pronunciation of the word. Now, how many syllables is Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. That is a total of, is that 14 or, let's see, Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. That is 14. That is 14. And I was not singing. That's called sing-song talking. It was a sing-song talk. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. It is not the song. It is not the same musicality. So I cannot be sued. Oh man, I better not be sued. You know, actually, because this is a podcast, it's kind of like pirate radio. You can pretty much talk about anything and everything. as long as you don't play too many copyrighted songs. But you can play an entire song, as far as I understand. I may not understand that correctly. So get back to me, please. Oh, no, you know what? Apple says you have to own the rights, too. So you don't have to own the songs, but you have to have the rights to play all, not just the songs, but all material on your podcast. So if not, then you can't be on Apple Podcasts, but you can be on the other podcasts. They don't have that stipulation. I've read the fine print. Believe you me. Believe you me. I have read the fine print. Now, here's more information for you. You cannot have an entire episode of just songs. Can't have that for some of the podcast sites, like Spotify, and or Anchor, which is owned by Spotify. And here's the reason. By the way, this podcast is sponsored, and I raised the high pitch. Did you see that? Sponsored by Anchor to make it more of a succinct, to make it more pronounced, to make it more so you can identify and listen to what I just said. That was the main point. Anchor, sponsored by Anchor, which is owned by Spotify. It's a Spotify derivative. And let me tell you this. Listen to this information. Because obviously Spotify streaming service for music, albums and songs, it wouldn't behoove Spotify to play a podcast of just songs, because they won't be making the streaming revenue amount, right? The profits for those songs. If you stream them directly from Spotify, now they make a monetary amount, so it makes sense. But they do allow you to play a few songs on your particular podcast episodes. And I have done that, actually, in the past with Christian Andrew Sather and others. And then, of course, there's the tidbits of information. You know what? I'm on a tangent. I need to get back to Richard and Robert Sherman. If anyone would like to tell me how much they enjoy these tangents, I'll keep doing them, because I kind of like it. All these thoughts roam in the head. Like Keith Jarrett. When he plays jazz, there's a big trucks moving by me. On the road, on the road, on the road. Almost did it. Almost sang, but did not. I did not. That's not the whole thing. On the road, on the road. Those are not lyrics in the song you're thinking of, Mr. Nelson. And so, there's someone right next to me with okay, that's interesting. A man, not a worker of any particular units around here, but a man, just a random person on the sidewalk, put a lot of their belongings, like backpacks and so forth, inside of a trash can, and now they're maneuvering the trash can around as if it were, say, a dolly or some kind of a truck device, a small hand truck device. And they're going through the parking lot now with the trash can. I have never seen that before, but what a smart move. You could even write on it that it's actually not a recycle can or a compost can or a trash can. You could just put your own symbol. You could make your own drawing with spray can paint or acrylic paint if you're so inclined. I like to draw and paint things with oil and acrylic and gouache, one of my favorite, gouache. Anyway, that's a tangent. That's also a tangent. We'll talk about all of those tangent items much later. Well, not much later, but on different episodes. Getting back to Richard and Robert Sherman. Oh, what? Oh, can we end it here? Everyone knows Richard and Robert Sherman's music, even if they aren't sure if it was, because you've heard it. You've actually heard them. Like I said, the bare necessities. Look for them. Look for what? The bare necessities. That is from Jungle Book. Walt Disney production. Now let's go back to Mary Poppins and the boys and Walt Disney singing a couple of songs. How about Tuppence? Excuse me. Little gaseous, what would you call that? Indigestion or something of that nature? Build up, let out a little burpage. Pardon, pardon. If you're eating breakfast right now, or any item except for chocolate, because chocolate can be eaten no matter what grotesque things are happening, I apologize if you are eating bacon and eggs and you heard that burpage. Not very pleasant. Unless you're doing it yourself, then it's, well, what can you do? You just go and things happen. I am going to process this today and upload this podcast definitely will on May 14th, 2022. This will be published and ready to go. Saturday, May 14th. Not May, definitely. We'll post this on May 14th, a Saturday, in the year 2022. Of course, you could be listening to this on May 14th. In fact, you will. I know you, John, and how about you, Ted? Yes, of course. Roberta, you're going to listen to this. Esmeralda will, and also Tina, and Bob. Hi, Bob. Enjoy the podcast, Paul. Enjoy it, Jay. Enjoy the podcast. And look into more. Do a Google search for Richard and Robert Sherman. 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 Also known as the Sherman Brothers, Richard and Robert. And a lot of times people will say, Richard and Robert Sherman, no relation. Well, in this case, Richard and Robert Sherman, definitely a relation. Absolutely, they are brothers. They are related. The Sherman Brothers. And that will end this podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's a little bit shorter than the last one. Well, a lot shorter. The last podcast was over 2 hours. This particular one is about 15 minutes, approximately. Maybe a little bit longer, 16, 17 minutes. Less than 20 minutes, or right about 20 minutes. Okay, that will end it. If I keep talking, it will be longer. And I think right around 20 minutes is a good one. It's a good one. Enjoy the day, everybody. Take care. This has been Holden Harroldsen speaking words. Words were spoken by Holden.